As we welcome you to the Mustang Corral here at Edgewood High School in Ellisville, Indiana. It is conference championship night as the Greencastle Tiger Cubs are in town to take on the Edgewood Mustangs in the Western Indiana Conference Championship game. As we glad you could join us for Edgewood Mustang basketball here on Smithville Sports alongside Jeremy Nutter. I am Nick Jenkinson, and Jeremy, while these varsity teams will be playing for the conference championship later on tonight, for JV, it is just another game.
Yeah, and that's something in JV that you always want to do. It's something that you can, the young guys can show off to the coach, the varsity coach, what they got. I know whenever I was playing JV games, you always want to do your best and really impress and try to stand out and try to get bumped up to, sitting on the varsity bench and then hopefully the next year playing, because that's kind of what you're shooting for. You're not shooting for necessarily, playing varsity right away. If you're on a JV team, you're just trying to prove yourself and make known your talents and hopefully get pushed up one day.
These two teams were to meet January 12th, but weather has affected it. In fact, this is Edgewood's first game since we did the Owen Valley game 2 weeks ago. Their game last Saturday with Bedford North Lawrence got postponed. That will be made up February the 2nd. So Edgewood's basically sat around for 2 weeks since the Owen Valley game. So my curiosity is to see the Rust, how they respond with the fact that they've had weather delays. Now, the JV did play a game just 2 nights ago at Terre Haute South and lost 58-54. So the JV has had a little bit of time to get ready, but varsity hasn't played for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's just been with that, they've been sitting around. We've been sitting around, getting a little bigger, getting a little fatter, not, maybe playing a different team that you would normally see. So they'll have to adjust to a completely different team. It's not like practice. They haven't seen this before. So they'll probably be definitely, see what they've learned.
As we look at the great Greencastle Tiger Cubs, their starting lineup, they will start with Ethan Meyers Ethan Meyers, 6'1", sophomore, number 42. And then Evan Alexander is number 24, 5'11", freshman. Connor Taylor, 22, 5'10", junior, as you see Greencastle getting introduced. Evan Cummings, number 20, 6'1", sophomore. And then Corey Taylor is the other guard. He's a 5'8", junior, wearing number 12. Craig Whittaker is their JV coach. And now we're going to get ready to look at the Edgewood Mustangs. Jeff Harrington, the coach. He's got a couple guys out tonight. Sean Sims and Jace Utley not available, as you see them in the sweatpants, the sweatsuits, as Logan Slayball is a 6'3", junior. Number 24, you'll see him on the varsity. Zeke Powell is a 6-foot sophomore as they're getting introduced.
Sophomore, number 20, Landon Ringler.
Landon Ringler is a 6'1", sophomore forward for the Mustangs.
14,
Zay Doring is 6-foot junior, wearing number 14. And then number 4 is Kaden Huttenlocker. He's a 6-foot freshman for Jeff Harrington. As you see, J.B. Neal in the background, along with freshman coach Chuck Sauter and Brad Moorhead and Brandon Ellis, the staff for Edgewood. As Greencastle's in the gray with the purple numbers and letters, Edgewood in the white with the red, kind of red trim, black numbers and letters. We are set to go. Again, this is just JV, just an extra game tonight. Varsity plays for the conference championship. Edgewood going for 4 in a row WIC titles. We are underway here in this JV contest.
Like you said, the varsity are playing for the title tonight, but definitely the JV game, the varsity guys watch. I remember watching, JV games whenever I was on the varsity team. It definitely sets a tone. If you pound their JV team, it just kind of sets a tone that you kind of get scared, you expect their varsity team to be a lot better. And I played against teams where that's the case and where it's the complete opposite. So we'll kind of see how that plays out tonight.
As Edgewood, Greencastle misses the first shot. Huttenlocker underneath, has to kick it back out. That is Ringler with the first 3 of the game for Edgewood. That's the way you want to set the tone.
Yeah, and he came out, firing. It was a good attempt down low to pump fake and going out for a layup, but ultimately getting the ball and firing out to somebody after everybody's ball watching, and, you get an open look and you're expected to make those.
As Slayball lost it out of bounds, it will stay with, or Greencastle lost it out of bounds, it will stay with Edgewood. Of course, as we've seen in the varsity games throughout the time that we've covered Edgewood, the varsity, they love to shoot it from 3. They are about 40% from downtown, as Slayball misses it. Huttenlocker with the rebound, and then it is a jump ball call, and possession arrow stays with the Mustangs.
Yeah, and that was some good positioning and a tough rebound taken down by him after another shot from the perimeter, which, of course, they'll probably kind of look for here, it seems, as they do have a height advantage overall against Greencastle.
As Dorian drives to the basket, can't get it to go, and the rebound at the Tiger Cubs, and then they try to push it up the floor, but deflected and taken away by Slayball. There is Dorian, and he gets the bucket, and it's a 5-0 lead for Edgewood. So Zay Dorian on the board. Greencastle looking to get their first points of the night. There is a 3 on the way. It is too strong for Evan Alexander, and Slayball with the rebound.
And you see at this point you don't exactly want to, jack up threes. I know Edgewood, just making one there, but Greencastle's just got to start something, because so far, you only shoot threes or go on the perimeter or try a shot that may not work out. Again, another 3. And if you don't get those, Edgewood's going to pound on the points, and you're just going to get demoralized by the scoreboard, and that doesn't help out in the game.
Here is Ringler for 3. It is short. Huttenlocker had hit the last 3 attempts. That was just a beautiful play where they just left it for Huttenlocker, and he scored. Greencastle still looking to get on the board, though. Good ball movement by the Tiger Cubs. Inside, and one goes for Ethan Mayer, and he will go to the line.
Yeah, and that was good big man play inside by Ethan Mayer, really making sure that even a little hand can't stop him, making sure he stays strong and gets his shot up still.
30 Trent Ross comes into the game. He is a 6-foot junior for the Tiger Cubs. Mayer, a 6'1" sophomore, and he misses it, and it's rebounded by Ringler, and here comes Edgewood. Dorian just dumps it, leaves it for Ringler, straight top the key. No, Huttenlocker fadeaway is no good. And the rebound to Ross.
It seems as though Ringler hasn't had to move too much the whole game. He's pretty much shot from there the whole game and had success there.
As that's a 3 for Connor Taylor, the first 3 of the game for the Tiger Cubs, and this is a 3-point Edgewood lead. Looks like Greencastle finally getting a little bit more comfortable in their offense. Powell's going to launch a 3 and hit it. That's the third 3 of the night for Edgewood already.
Like I'm saying, I mean, you see these teams, honestly, they don't really look to go inside that much. Again, you would think that with Greencastle, why they wouldn't do that unless they had an option like that.
That's a miss for Connor Taylor. Here comes the Mustangs. They're not shy about getting it up and down the floor. They're going to fire again. Slay ball, and it's going to be Dorian called over the back with the foul.
Edgewood seems to be just doing a 3-point contest right now, just seeing who's going to make the most of the night. And, hey, if they win like that, be my guest. That's fine. But
we've seen over the years Edgewood's 3-point barrage of kids that can light it up. I mean, they've had a slew of guys over the years that are just notable 3-point shooters. Most likely a kid named Tommy Weekly, who played here, graduated in 2008, probably on one of the best Edgewood teams ever. He went on to DePaul University. He's also been back at Edgewood before as an assistant coach. He's working, teaching, running some camps and stuff in the area. So, Edgewood's had their barrage of kids that can hit outside, and that's always something that they're taught when they get here. There's a miss by Edgewood. Ringler with the rebound, and here comes the Mustangs. Yeah, they just leave it right off. Powell's going to fire it again, too strong. And rebound to Greencastle, and they're going to come back. Powell one-on-one, and that is good for Evan Alexander.
And immediately firing back here, Edgewood trying to drive down, doing the same play over and over again. Whichever side it may be, they drive in, draw 2 men, go out.
And they kick it back out as Jeff Harrington wants a timeout as Logan Slayball hits that 3. And Edgewood up by 7. And he's going to call a 30-second timeout. You see the Greencastle huddle as Bryce Rector, the varsity coach, in the background as you see the Mustangs with Jeff Harrington. Again, 2 guys, Sean Sims and Jace Utley, out tonight. You see them in the warm-up or the sweatsuits tonight with injuries, not available for Jeff Harrington, but it seems like there's no drop-off right now.
Yeah, it seems like, they have one play. Like, if you see them just drive in, draw 2 men, and they kick it out and shoot a 3. Even if they miss or make, then they do it again. They do it again, recycle a lot. And if it works for them, and it has been, like I said, they can keep doing that all game and be successful. But Greencastle's got to do better on defense where they don't get caught being pulled down and not having anybody up there for the person who just simply gets the ball with a wide open 3 absolutely every time.
As you see the zone applied by Edgewood, not attacking right now. They're just keeping it out on the perimeter. Good feed inside. Meyer, and he gets it to go as he's going to go to the line. That's his 4th point of the night.
Yeah, and that's maybe where they may find some success is inside because, again, I think they're expecting Greencastle to not shoot necessarily that many shots inside. So if they're able to start, utilizing Meyer and really getting them down low in that zone, I think he'll have success in that zone.
Zeke Powell misses the 3. Now into the game for Edgewood is number 12, Kaden Howard. He's a 6'1" freshman. His brother Chayton was a senior last year for the Mustangs, and he's playing now at IU Southeast in a IA school. There is Slayball, and he gets fouled.
It's one of the first drives of the night from Edgewood there, finally venturing inside the key.
As going to send Logan Slayball to the line. Foul on Meyer, his first and the team's first. This will send Slayball to the line, and he misses the shot. Now it's going to be 22, Henry Doring checking in. 6'1" freshman as Huttenlocker goes out. So one more for Slayball. Sees some time at the varsity level as he misses both. As he's probably one of the guys that gets kind of the mop-up minutes. Again, between JV and varsity, you can play up to 5 quarters a night if you play both. So it's always hard for these JV coaches to keep the number of quarters and how many they're allowed to utilize.
I've been in a situation like that many times where, the coach may want you.
As that's the offensive foul on Meyer, and it will be Edgewood's ball, and that's his 2nd.
And like I was saying, the coach may want you, but at the same time, you play JV, so you may play 3 quarters, and then maybe use 2 quarters or maybe not used at all in a varsity game. It just depends on kind of how the situation happens. So, with a lot of these guys, they're maybe playing dual minutes, so it's just kind of however the coaches do it, and they just follow suit. I don't think they would have too much say at the JV level on how much they play varsity.
No, it's kind of how they always have a discussion before, and it says, okay, this is what you get, this is how many guys you get, and this is how many you get them for. I know one of the guys that's on the bench right now, he's not played yet, Derek Farkas, who we'll see in the varsity game. I know he's probably going to be used for maybe a quarter or 2 if needed.
Yeah, and that's also too. I've been in those same situations as well, where they'll just have a varsity guy there just in case. They just want to win a JV game or something, or to bring him back from injury or something to give him a chance to kind of play without too many stakes.
Henry Dorian hit the basket for Edgewood. Greencastle misses. Slayball is going to fire it, and that is going to be short. And so far, Edgewood in control here in the first quarter, 16-9 on Smithville Sports.
ATI is a group of highly skilled physical therapists. We have 750 locations, and we have 5 locations here in Bloomington. If you have a muscle deficit or a joint deficit, we're going to treat that, and then we're going to teach you what to do to continue forward without our help. So we want to make you as independent as possible. You can contact ATI by calling our phone number here at the clinic, or you can log on to www.atipt.com and get set up from there.
As we welcome you back to the Mustang Corral, you look at the Edgewood huddle, and there's Jeff Harrington, the JV coach. Edgewood in control, 16-9 after 1 quarter of play. Glad you could join us for Edgewood Mustang basketball here on Smithville Sports alongside Jeremy Nutter. I am Nick Jenkins, and so far, Jeremy, as we talked about, it's really Edgewood going is keeping it outside. So far, they've hit 4 threes.
Yeah, and that's what we've seen is the same play over and over and over, where they drive inside, draw a guy, and pass it out. And differently down at Greencastle's end, they're able to penetrate inside and get some points off of Zach Meyer in there, and be able to use him in there will definitely, change what their game plan is, because so far they've been jacking up threes from outside, and that just won't cut it, honestly, if they want to stay in the game with Edgewood.
So Greencastle will get the ball to start the second quarter. 7-minute quarters here in JV basketball. And this is Evan Cummings, number 20, with it for the Tiger Cubs. 24 is Evan Alexander. He has the ball right now. Ethan Mayer, number 42. And then, again, the slay ball goes to the ground, and Mayer scores his 6th point of the night. So here is Edgewood. This is Slayball, left it short. Mayer with the rebound. Now it's going to be a long 3, and it's off the mark, and the offensive board to Greencastle. Inside, and then Slayball active on defense, takes that away.
Yeah, and again, it's just important for Ethan Meyer to stay down there. It's important for him to be a presence down there, because he's honestly probably bigger than most of the kids on the court. It seems like looking at him from up here, and so he can use that physical presence inside, and instead of shooting a 3 like that last possession and ending it in a turnover, he'll possibly be able to go to the line or get some points.
Now Derek Farkas, who's got the ball right now and shoots it in and out, is into the game. Most likely his only quarter of action in JV.
And you see there again, Ethan Meyer getting that rebound, getting inside. If he keeps doing that tonight, Greencastle can have a good JV game.
As they're going to call Kaden Howard with the foul. That's his 1st and the team's 4th. Always see it where one player in JV kind of stands out, always has kind of that big game. So far, Ethan Meyer's the kid that will probably have it, as you see the shot off the mark, rebound, and fouled by Greencastle.
I remember another name I remember from our Bloomfield game, Balin Graff. For some reason that name stuck with me, so Ethan Meyer's name may stick with me as well.
Yeah, he had a big game for Bloomfield back here in December, as Connor Taylor hits that free throw. I think it was over 20 points that he scored.
Absolute beast.
Yeah, as 34 is Evan Waters. He's coming out. Zeke Powell, number 2, back in for the Tiger Cubs. Taylor has 4, 5'10" junior for the Tiger Cubs. Not a far trip for Greencastle, about a 45-minute trip for Greencastle down here to Edgewood. As nice turnaround shot is off the mark for the Mustangs, and the Tiger Cubs with the rebound.
And that was a good find. He just kind of jacked it at him too quick and wasn't able to get a good read on it.
Now there's the numbers, and Zay Doring just takes it himself. He gets his 4th bucket of the night, and it's a 6-point Edgewood lead.
It's really fun to see, JV teams play each other because in more than often than not, it's more competitive sometimes in the varsity game because these kids, may not be here for the fun of it, may not be here, for because they have to be, they just have a passion for it and want to get up to that varsity level. So seeing these guys playing the determination is really exciting.
There's a shot missed by the Tiger Cubs. Zay Dorian with it taken away, and then that is Alexander, and he gets fouled by Howard.
We'll see if they stay down low here with Ethan Meyer, if they go up top and play around the top of the arc.
Several substitutions for the Mustangs as Greencastle will inbound it.
And if you look at them right now, they have no one down there in the key, which is not the best idea because
and Meyer just gets it taken away by Dorian. Here comes Edgewood. And now it's taken away by Greencastle. Corey Taylor.
And again, it's completely open. No one inside on the arc, but someone tries to come in, and it's just you need that presence. They can run a 4-out, 1-in kind of deal where center plays inside, but having that open inside mark is very dangerous.
As you see, Zeke Powell with a nice bounce pass to Logan Slayball, and he finishes it. And Slayball will go to the line.
I should correct unless you're the Warriors, then you can play that 5 on the outside and shoot threes all day.
Well, yeah, when you have a guy like Steph Curry on your team that can shoot as soon as he gets across the timeline. Same with Klay Thompson.
Yeah, Kevin Durant.
Edgewood's opened this up to a 9-point lead.
And this is a point where, you want to score a little bit. You don't want to necessarily bring it all back together and score 3 because stuff like that won't help because the lead will just get that much bigger if Edgewood scores on this possession.
Meyer missed it, and Edgewood setting it up. Dorian's going to fire the 3. They just keep shooting, and that missed everything with Greencastle rebounding.
And again, you saw down there, Edgewood has an open set. No one's down inside.
Alexander misses. Rebound, no good, and now Farkas with the board, and he just kind of gets past everybody, dumps it off. Huntenlocker hits the triple, and Jeff Harrington calls another timeout.
It's been really interesting to see these two teams play on offense and not being able to kind of pinpoint what play they seem to be doing. They just seem to be kind of just being around the arc and not necessarily using any inside presence, which I find is very weird that that's not part of at least someone's game plan. I saw Greencastle run a little bit of 4-out, 1-in earlier in the game and haven't really seen Edgewood do anything like that. It's just kind of shoot and crash.
And it's interesting as you look at the Greencastle huddle, Jeff Harrington's called both his timeouts on made 3-pointers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of an interesting move to call a timeout and to call those timeouts in that juncture of the game. He must see something he wants to instruct his team after makes. Maybe it's just how to get back. Maybe it's how to guard the inbounds players or something that he wants to. I mean, Jeff Harrington, I've known Jeff for a while. He's a very detailed-oriented person. He's dedicated a lot of time to coaching. He's had a son that played for Edgewood a couple years ago, or the last 2 years, and is not playing this season. He's got a daughter will be playing next year here at the high school. She's in the junior as an 8th grader right now over at the junior high. Tall, over 6 foot tall, just like her dad. So, I mean, he's given a lot of time to the game. He's a former Edgewood player himself, so he's been around this for a long time.
Yeah, we just saw there, a throwaway pass across the court, and that's something if this coach could yell his lungs out right now, he probably would, because that's something you never should do. It's really risky. If it works, they'll smile and wave. If it doesn't, which more than often the time it doesn't, you get a pretty big yelling after.
Tiger Cubs working it.
And again, no one on the inside.
No, well, there's a nice cut by Alexander, and he gets it right out to Meyer, and then it's partially blocked. He wants a foul, not going to happen. Edgewood's got 3-on-1. It's just going to be Farkas, and then Powell is there to clean up the miss and put back.
And that seems to be the mentality with Edgewood is crash the board, which is good to have. It is kind of weird without having necessarily a main guy on the inside. They all seem to look like they can play the same position out there. They all seem to be looking like the same player. But, yeah, it just is an interesting kind of formula that's worked for them so far, and they've been successful. But I could just think on a bad day how that could go very, very wrong if you know, you can't hit anything.
As Meyers scores his 8th point of the night, and you know, the one thing about Edgewood is they start five guards in varsity, and they basically do the same, not necessarily do the same thing, but it seems like they can all play the same positions, and that's something because Edgewood's had that, you know, that big man the last couple of years. Kids like Braden Patton, who's a big post a football player, who's at Northern Illinois. Kaden Howard, who can be a stretch kid who can go outside and step out and hit the shot, as Huntenlocker misses everything. Austin Renard was another kid a couple years ago who could shoot a lot of threes from the outside. So they've had those size for Edgewood, and this year they just kind of play that positionless basketball as Corey Taylor drains the three, and this lead is within 9.
Yeah, and that reminds me kind of a soccer analogy where you know, there's an idea that there's a way of playing called total football that every player can play every position, and that seems to be the way Edgewood are. You know, everybody can play every position. You play where you are, and you do your best you can.
And that's what it seems like the game has now evolved so much that they're talking about positionless basketball now, that basically when you recruit, when you look at a kid, you want him to play basically every position on the floor if possible.
Yeah, my friends and I were actually talking about that, how Anthony Davis, you know, this year probably the best big man in the league or one of them. His team stinks and is not going to the playoffs or anything, doesn't look anywhere up. So that's definitely where back in the day you see Shaq or someone like that, Dwight Howard, you know. And it's nothing like that where a big man can definitely change the game. It's more of a perimeter game.
And there is Greencastle going the other way, reverse layup, no good. Edgewood's got about 6 seconds up ahead. Slay ball baseline jumper is good. And that is going to do it for the first half of this JV game. As we look at the highlights, it's Edgewood, and it's going outside with Landon Ringler starting a three-point barrage. Kaden Hunterlocker hits one as well. Inside, Meyer with 8 points for the Tiger Cubs. Zeke Powell drains the three from the wing. This was just a bullet pass inside and gets the and one. And you just see Edgewood, nice bounce pass from Powell to Slayball for the and one. You don't always see that in JV. And then Powell just there to clean up the miss for the Mustangs. Meyer again gets his points inside. But you just see the good ball movement and a nice finish inside. As we're at halftime, Edgewood 30, Greencastle 17 here on Smithville Sports. As we welcome you back to the Mustang Corral here at Edgewood High School, Ellisville, Indiana. Edgewood on top 30-17 at halftime against Greencastle. Glad you could join us for Edgewood Mustang basketball and Smithville Sports alongside Jeremy Nutter. I am Nick Jenkinson. Jeremy, 6 players for Edgewood scored, and they hit 5 threes in that first half.
I know, it's just seems crazy. The way they're playing is kind of weird for me to see both teams exactly. They're kind of not utilizing a big man at all, and they all have pretty tall kids on both sides. So it's just kind of a weird game so far, if I'm being honest. But they're definitely making a lot of shots. Edgewood is, and Greencastle is just trying to play pickup so far.
As we are underway here in the third quarter, Logan Slayball gets it to Zeke Powell, Kaden Hunterlocker, and he hits the basket. He and Slayball had 8 at halftime, and now Huntenlocker is in double figures with 10.
But I did like seeing Connor Taylor there for a second doing a hard box out after the shot. I was very pleased to see that because I had a coach screaming at me one time in a JV game or in a middle school game to box out. So he yelled his head off, and And so I'm glad to be seeing that down there, some determination.
Evan Alexander hits that three. Yeah, that's one thing coaches probably yell a lot at is box out and rebound.
Yeah, yep. I wasn't too encouraged after he yelled at me, but that's some good determination shown by Greencastle.
As now Meyers in double figures for Greencastle with his 10-point, but it's a 10-point Edgewood lead.
And again, it's just empty on the inside for Edgewood. No one down low, although there's a little down low, but they end up clearing out.
Yeah, Ringler came across the lane as Dorian going to drive, put up a shot. It's no good. Rebound to the Tiger Cubs, as this is Evan Cummings, number 20, with the ball. And then Meyers going to cross court. Always a dangerous pass, and then Connor Taylor stepped on a line, so it's a turnover to Edgewood. Just a mental mistake.
And that's been happened. That's been happening a few times to Greencastle with cross-court passes being stolen and poor shot selection and other things.
Zay Doring, the nice drive to the basket. He had 4 in the first half, 6 now in the game.
And you see more students starting to trickle in, supporting the Edgewood JV.
Yeah, Edgewood hasn't played. The varsity has not played for 2 weeks because their regular season meeting with Greencastle and Bedford North Lawrence were postponed due to the weather the last 2 Saturdays here in Indiana. The regular season game with Greencastle will not be made up, and the Bedford North Lawrence game will be scheduled next Saturday afternoon.
And that's encouraging for anybody playing because, you just want to play. You just want to play, and I know whenever I've had some games canceled and they end up not being rescheduled, I get pretty upset because, you just want to play. You want to show that you are better than the team you're going to play and be able to brag against them.
Yeah, you may be happy that day if you didn't feel like playing, but then you realize you got to still play them later on as Zay Doring drills a 3. And Edgewood just continues the barrage of threes. They hit 5 in the first half, now 6 for the game. As Greencastle with the ball. Alexander gonna fire it off the mark. Tip out to Doring. Bounce pass to Powell. Kicks it back out.
They won a 3.
Huttenlocker wide open, it's no good. Ringler the board, now into the hands of the Tiger Cubs.
And Coach Jeff Harrington here, the JV team, probably just said, go ahead, go out there. Don't even need to go inside the paint. Just kind of shoot some threes, and we've been doing good so far, so we'll go for it.
As sloppy ball, now Greencastle gets the timeout. It's going to be a 30-second timeout. Heads up play by the Tiger Cubs to get that 30-second timeout.
And I do have to say that was one of the first times I ever saw a JV player calling a timeout on the floor. I've never seen that. I've seen, you see that in NBA, college, or other stuff. Usually at the JV level, the players aren't calling the timeout. So that's some pretty. I don't know if he was told to do that or something like that. But
he was on the. He was on the floor right in front of the bench, and I think it was to really just avoid. I think it was to avoid the travel call because he had nothing. He had nothing to see. As you see, Greencastle with 4 timeouts left. Edgewood with 3 timeouts left. Again, varsity will follow 20 minutes after this one. Teams are fighting for the Western Indiana Conference title. Greencastle going for its first conference title in the Western Indiana Conference. These 2 teams used to be a part of the West Central Conference for years, and then Edgewood left to join the WIC, and then Greencastle came in just a few years ago. So these teams are no stranger to each other. They've been battling it for years, and no better for these 2 teams this time to play for that conference championship.
Yeah, whenever you play, I remember playing city and other stuff, like that in sectionals and in regional games, and you want that. That ups the stakes for the game, is that you win something in the end. It's a completed task. You get a trophy or whatever they give you, and and then you can say you're the best in a certain arena of teams.
Yeah, that as Alexander hits that three, his second three of the night, lead is cut to 9. But I do see on the scores table the first place ribbons and that plaque is covered up down there. But it's on the scores table ready to go for whoever wins it. And hopefully for the Edgewood fans, it's going to stay here in Ellettsville for the 4th straight year. It's going to be hung up there with all the other conference plaques that there are, as Slaybaugh drills the 3 from the corner.
I have a feeling this is starting to break into a 3, Clinton, as Greencastle on the last possession shot a 3. So we'll see if they try to answer. That's a dangerous game, though, playing that way.
And now Greencastle just throws it away. Now Powell's just going to chase it down, but he's going to let it go, and it will be Edgewood ball. Smart move by Powell. He saw it going out of bounds and heads up by Edgewood by Jeff Harrington to make sure he did not touch it to get the ball back for Edgewood.
As you see again, it's just a lot of people on the outside. They're doing kind of a weave pattern, trying to get people open since Greencastle's playing man. And so far it's been successful. Stuff like right there where it's just a second of getting sucked inside, and then you're able to make a move around your man and get a basket.
Kaden Hunterlocker scores again. He's got 12. I'll tell you what, I like that little jumper that he has.
He's done that a few times.
15 feet, yeah. He's pretty deadly with it. I tried to get the steal there, but did not. And then they just leave Meyer all alone underneath the basket, and then it's a jump ball. And that's, as a coach, that drives you nuts when you have that wide open look and you can't convert.
And also, like I was saying earlier, and I feel as though I may be right in this, is that if Greencastle attacks down low, they'll be able to get it because, you know, Ethan Meyer was wide open down there. And after you do that a few times, they'll start paying attention down low, and that opens up some other stuff. So definitely utilizing that down low would help out Greencastle in this situation. And maybe give them a chance instead of putting Ethan Meyer out on the arc.
42-28. Edgewood in control. As the band is getting ready to be, or in place, getting ready to rock this crowd. So it will be loud here in a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah. They bring the heat, that's for sure.
They won a state championship in the fall for the first time ever in competition. Nice play for Powell to Huttenlocker. And that brings a little noise to the Mustang corral.
See, that's the fun part I'm talking about, where there's a lot of passion, you know, in that play. You know, that's just inventive, you know, on you go. That's some backyard basketball stuff, you know. It's just fun. It's fun stuff.
Edgewood puts this out to a 16-point lead as we are about ready to hit the minute mark in the 3rd quarter. Shot no good for Greencastle. In transition and finishes Henry Doring. And he's excited as he's going to get to go to the line.
And he was jacked up after that. He was absolutely jacked up. But you see in that previous Greencastle possession, an absolutely needless 3 jacked up there, and not being able to convert that will really hurt Greencastle now as Edgewood goes to the line.
Henry Doring at the line for the Mustangs. He hits that foul shot. He's got 5 points, and it's a 19-point lead.
Just a while ago, it was about, you know, maybe 6-9 points, and now it's starting to jump farther and farther out.
As you said, it's a good, sets the tone for what could be the varsity game as well, as Edgewood's JV team playing well so far. There's another miss inside for Greencastle, and you can tell a little frustration now sets in for the Tiger Cubs.
And like it was last possession for them, whenever they scored, or rather whenever Ethan Meyer missed that layup, completely open down low. You know, you take somebody down there completely open. So, you know, I definitely look as a coach trying to look down there and looking more at those plays down low.
As Landon Ringler gets fouled, he'll get to go to the line. Ringler is 6'1", sophomore. I don't see his dad Lance tonight. He usually helps out with the team, but he must be off a game out reffing tonight. Lance is an official. Landon's mom, Missy, was a top-notch golfer here at Edgewood, was a golfer at Iowa State University, also in the Monroe County Sports Hall of Fame, a golf coach at Iowa State and UNLV, among other places. But they're back home here in Ellettsville, where raising their boy, and just like mom and dad, he's put on that Mustang uniform.
Yeah, and like you said, he's a sophomore. That's a lot of young, tall guys on this Edgewood team. Again, absolutely needless three there to end the quarter.
As Greencastle launches that three, no good. Edgewood in control by 20 on Smithville Sports.
Whether you need an awesome wrap for your truck, a new look for your sports car, or simply some great window tinting, Van Horn has you covered. Need accessories like step bars, bug shields, or toolboxes? Or how about a neon clock for the garage or den? Van Horn can take care of it. With years of experience, Van Horn gives you the professional look with the quality you deserve. Stop by our shop in Ellettsville, the large building behind McDonald's, or give us a call at 812-876-2230. You can also visit our website at vanhorn1.com. Van Horn Tent and Accessories, the place for your custom vehicle needs.
As we welcome you back to Edgewood High School, Mustangs in control, 48-28. As we welcome you back, I am Nick Jenkinson alongside Jeremy Nutter, and Jeremy, Edgewood's in control with 7 more minutes left to play in this JV game.
Yeah, it's kind of gotten out of hand with the three-pointers that have been thrown up, and not really that much inside play from either team. And that's kind of how it's been. In the end, it's whoever's more, hot that night. And right now, Edgewood's been, incredibly hot. They've made a bunch of shots, a bunch of jumpers, not really too many drive-ins at all. And Greencastle's been successful inside, but doesn't seem to run any plays that go inside. So we'll kind of see how that morphs into a fourth quarter.
As we are underway here in the fourth quarter. As you see, Slayball fires the three, and it nails it again, his third three of the night. Edgewood just continues to be hot, 8 threes so far in this game. There is a foul by the Mustangs, as that will be on Huntenlocker. And that's said his third.
And again, Ethan Meyer gets fouled on the arc, and he should probably be down low, getting those passes inside and being, using his body, getting that big frame in there.
51-28.
No one down low again for Greencastle.
Edgewood staying in that zone. Alexander now in the paint, and Meyer shows the outside range with that three.
Yeah, that's surprising. I think he's tried maybe 1 or 2 in the game so far, kind of not an inside shot, so finally making one, gaining some confidence there.
Slayball drives the lane and gets fouled. Of course, tomorrow a big day for both Edgewood and Greencastle. They will both be playing at Bankers Life Fieldhouse as part of what they call the Really Big Basketball Show. 5 games tomorrow. Edgewood Monrovia starts it off at 1 o'clock. Then it's Tri-West and Greencastle. Then Northwestern against Carroll of Flora. That's up by Delphi. And I'm interested in that game because a former classmate of mine at Ball State, Bodie Benders, in his first year as the coach at Carroll. So I wish him and his team luck. He's had a 5-5 season so far in his first year, so
that's always
I
a
hope
good
they
way to
do
start.
well. Northwestern's the #1 team in Class 3A, and they're undefeated, so he's going to have a tough task. Culver Academy will play Cathedral at 6, which Cathedral has IU signee Armand Franklin. Culver made the state finals in 3A last year. Trey Galloway is an IU target, and then Franklin against Southport at 7:40. So if you're in that area, go up tomorrow. That's a great day of basketball and a great facility.
And yeah, it's such a cool opportunity for these kids. I remember I was part of I could have an opportunity to go Bankers Life and play for a practice team for our girls high school team, but I ended up not being able to. bummed out all the guys and stuff. But, for these kids being able to go up there and play, I mean, that is a once-in-a-lifetime thing kind of deal. And so that's something, honestly, you get really excited with, playing in a big place that isn't that familiar. And, you see on TV, and then you go and play there, and then all of a sudden you become, regular. And you get all the kids at school the next week, talking to you, asking how it was, all that stuff. So definitely a cool opportunity for these kids.
And that is tomorrow. So again, Edgewood plays. So the JV teams, the JV will play Monrovia later on as part of this, because this was Monrovia's home game and it got moved to Bankers Life. So the JV team will be off tomorrow, but I know they'll all be in attendance behind the bench supporting the varsity squad.
And I know that they'd probably want that home game to be every time they played at home.
Edgewood got to play up there a few years ago against Mooresville as well, and that was a exciting day, exciting moment for those kids. Came up short that day against Mooresville, but again, any time you get to play in a place like that, it's just special.
And a block by Greencastle there, that's some hard defense they've been playing. And now again, just start out with a drive from Ethan Meyer, and you just see the rest of the Greencastle team kind of watch him and not move. And so I think that's some stuff that can be worked on, some more inside play, as well as just, some movement off the ball, because that's always big, that coaches push in every sport really that I've played, is moving off the ball and how important that is and how crucial that is. You may not want to, you may be tired, but you have to. And I do have to say sometimes I didn't do that. Other times I did, and it worked out, and they were right, which is, is interesting that the coach is right sometimes.
Whether you agree or disagree at the time, normally the coach is right like 99% of the
Absolutely,
time.
Yeah, it's always yes, sir.
You may disagree with him 80% of at the time, but
yes,
he's always the right, and they know normally what's best, even though at the time you probably don't think so. But
it's weird how it works like that. Yeah.
When you look back, you realize, oh man, he was right all along. So.
Yeah. I definitely many parts of my life where that is a true statement.
As Greencastle loses the ball, Edgewood now up by 22. As again, Varsity will come up here in about 20 minutes. What's your overall, as you see Powell driving the lane, your overall, as we've covered Edgewood throughout the season, your just impressions of the job that J.B. Neal's done with his varsity squad?
I mean, it's just been really cool to see them and how they play, because, especially the game against Indian Creek, that was one that stood out to me as a very hard-fought game, and they just are able to push. They're not a team that necessarily gets caught too much, playing to the team that they play against. They don't play down to a level or up to a level. They seem to be quite consistent, and that's shown in their record, as well as just in their team overall. They all have, everybody has height across the board. Even in this JV team, there's maybe like one guy below 6 foot. So it's just, there's a lot of height, a lot of desire I see on them, and they all look in pretty good shape and pretty strong, which is another good thing to have. And overall, I've been really impressed, especially with, kind of the way they play seems to be like a perimeter team or a team that shoots a lot. Varsity, that's a little different because they have some bigger players that they can use inside. But for me, it's just been impressive with how well they've been able to shoot, which, is if I were to think of an Indiana team, Edgewood would be definitely a team that you can envision kind of fitting that bill. Is a team that shoots, is a team that plays hard basketball and competes every time they're out there and is successful most of the time.
And it's defense first. This Edgewood program has really been an unbelievable, as Meyer misses the basket. In the last 26 years, they've won 22. They've had 22 winning seasons, 7 in a row. They've won 355 games. They've won 9 sectionals, 10 overall. They have 9 WIC titles, trying to go make it 10. 3 West Central titles in 94, 96, and 97 before they came into the conference, as Meyers misses that one. So, I mean, they have built this program from the ground up. I mean, they've had, it's just been unbelievable. 1 Indiana All-Star in the program, Garrett Butcher, in 2008, went on to play for Butler University, was on those 2 national runner-up teams. Although he had a lot of injuries throughout, there were key moments in his career where they needed those couple minutes from him. He just had chronic knee problems, but he was a kid that always contributed, and he always put that team first.
Yeah, and that's I mean that's what I see with a lot of these players now. There are a few that stick out. Obviously, Trevor Taylor sticks out a lot on the varsity level, but I mean everybody honestly gets a little pick of the pie. It kind of reminds me, of a Pacers team right now that everybody plays really well, and that seems to be the way Edgewood is playing. Is that whenever I watch them and whenever I see even their JV team, you can't tell who's scoring because everybody's scoring a little bit, and you just another person makes the basket, and you go, it's all right, someone scored. There's not exactly, especially on the JV level, there's not exactly anybody who stands out or who ball hogs or is a player who takes the ball and isn't that much of a passer.
It's always a balanced effort. I mean, if you look top to bottom down at Edgewood, that's a 3 made for Connor Taylor. I mean, several kids have scored. They had 6 guys score at halftime as Slayball launches a 3, no good. Henry Doring with the rebound, and he kicks it out to Powell. But they've had a lot of kids now. Powell launches the 3, and he nails it. But they've had so many guys that have just been able to score, and I mean his lead is 25.
I mean, someone's getting a pizza party. That's what I'm saying, because I remember hearing about a soccer coach who would cook his. What would he do? He would cook his team a pizza whenever his team would win, and so you know what they won their title that year, and so he made a lot of food that year, and so similarly this JV team deserves a little pizza party or something for how well they performed tonight, because I mean it's really looked sharp tonight, very sharp.
Yeah, very sharp as Evan Waters and Kaden Howard is going to come into the game. And Kaden Howard is 6'1". If you can just our other partner Quinn Saturday will attest to this. If you look at Kaden Howard and add about 4 inches of height to him, that's his brother Chayton Howard. I mean, exactly looks the same.
Yeah, and not like on this JV team where you can, in a JV game, take out somebody who's 6 foot, bring in someone who's 6'1". The height is huge with this Edgewood team. It's impressive to see on the roster. Seeing all the players they have, even on the freshman team, they have some pretty tall dudes, and just as they continue to grow and build up and add to the team, it'll be very impressive to see how this team performs.
There is, again, Edgewood in control here by 27 now, 61-34. They're going to go to 7-6. Now they have a couple more games coming up. They will play Monrovia later, Bloomington North, Orleans, Northview, Mitchell, and Eastern Green. They also have a JV invite the same day as the Bedford North Lawrence game, so the JV teams won't play Bedford that day. But Jeff Harrington's, he was 20-2 last year. He's struggled a little bit this year, but he's going to get these guys over 500 tonight, as you see Kaden Howard at the line.
I remember I was on some JV teams that did. We only lost twice some years, and the varsity were 500 or whatever. They barely made it to the playoffs or whatever. But yes, the JV teams definitely have their own special bond where you're in your own little world a little bit, where you're playing hard and you are you're having fun and winning a lot. Honestly, if you're in a good JV program, and the coaches are excited from that because they're able to see the JV team and realize, hey, I'm able to bring up these guys who just had an incredible season. That's very, very appealing.
As you see, Zay Doring chase it down, and he gets it to Ringler. Back to Doring, in and out. Tip back out, Henry Doring, short. And the rebound to Greencastle. Now it's going to be Doring on the foul. He doesn't agree with it, as he'll just walk the other way. So we approach a minute to go here Edgewood gonna win convincingly, big time. And then we get ready for the championship game of this conference tonight between these two squads.
A lot of, and again, another cross-court pass from there. Very, very risky. And as we see now, a lot of the backup players that you said that were brought in for this JV game from the freshman team at Greencastle or whatnot are able to get in there and see some minutes, which is good for them. You know, getting in there, seeing how a JV game is. So one day they'll be able to, you know, do the same step to the varsity level.
Landon Ringler back at the line for Edgewood. He's got 4 tonight. He's got 1 more. And he hits that one.
And like you said, whenever there was a foul down here by an Edgewood player, they're up by, what, 30 now, and they're still going that hard, and that shows just the competitiveness. And I was, you know, you hear in games, I was watching a documentary about how this team down in Mississippi kills every team they play against. And, you know, it almost is that kind of question, you know, do you stack on the points or do you show respect by not holding up? And so, you know, seeing that desire in this Edgewood team is here as they hold the ball at the end. It's very cool.
And they're going to hold it, dribble it out, and that will be it. Edgewood wins 64-34. As you see, Kaden Howard handing it to the official. A nice, classy move for sportsmanship as we see the highlights. And it's Edgewood. Kaden Hunterlocker with the bucket. You see Greencastle showing the range on the 3. Zay Doring drills that one for the Mustangs as Greencastle again hits it outside, but you see the defense, Zeke Powell bounce pass to Huntenlocker for the beautiful finish. And then again, it's just, this is what Edgewood does. In transition, gets buckets. Henry Doring's all excited for the Mustangs.
Turn your attention to the
Zeke Powell to step out, drills the 3 as Edgewood wins 64-34 for Jeremy Nutter. I'm Nick Jenkinson. Varsity comes up in 20 minutes on Smithville Sports.
as a gymnastics team.